buttons. Like that one.
We're blessed to find another company that reached out to us, and they're on site right now. So we're going to follow them along and see exactly what they're doing, how they're fabricating these gutters for us from raw rolls of metal. And then they're going to get all these mounted with their team, get some downspouts put on, and then over time, once we start doing the land grading, then we're going to put some PVC piping in the ground so that we can funnel all that water to exactly where we want it. Let's check this out. This is really cool stuff. Welcome back to the channel, everybody. We're glad you're here with us at Loving Acres Farmstead. And look at this, look at this. Whew. Look at that beautiful sun. Super early in the morning here. Well, I say super early. Been up for a few hours. It's about 8 o'clock, and we finally have stopped the rain. I say we, like I was able to stop the rain. We've had some torrential downpours. We've had the freeze. We've had the snow. You saw the video where my swimming pool was frozen, about 2 inches thick of ice, and that even increased. And finally, we've got some sunshine, so we can actually start getting some work done. Started doing some clearing. Still have a lot of water on the ground, which is what we're going to work on now. So let's check this out. So one thing that's a blessing about having all that rain is that I'm able to find out where I have issues like this. So now what's happened, unfortunately, as we can see after we've had the property and the rains hit, is we can see where we have standing water, which is kind of a good thing that we're able to see it. It's not a good thing that it's happening, but it's a good thing that we can see it, because now I can mitigate those problems, try to prevent them in the future, so that when the land is completed, we have all the infrastructures in, and we're starting the full-on gardening, and we're opening this place up for all of you to come out and have a blast. And however that looks, it doesn't matter how it looks. Whatever you feel like your spirit wants to do, you just do it and you have some fun with it. But now we're able to kind of redirect all this water, and we're going to save that water. It's going to go back into the creeks, which are going to help feed the ponds, which is going to be for the wildlife. And then we're going to have the overflow that goes back off into the land so that the water can continue on to water the rest of the property. So with this natural slope of our land, all the water tends to go that way, and you can see we've got some standing water right out here. Unfortunately, there's just some low spots, and there's just some gravel right there, so we're gonna have to bring this up just a bit so that there's just some more stuff, right? We need some more earth right there so that the water can percolate a little bit better. You can see over here that we've started clearing out the forest floor, so things are looking good there. But once we start kind of resloping, we're going to regrade some of this. This whole area is going to get completely reseeded with grass. All of those burn piles will be moved, and pretty much everything that you see right through here is all just going to be a nice, new, lush green, even a meadow, if you will, just a nice green area for, honestly, if you want to come out and do some grounding, you just want to lay out on the ground and stare up at the beautiful sky and sit back and look at the garden, listen to the creek, watch the wildlife at the pond, you know, you name it. But this is going to be just a nice, clear area. We just got to fix that water problem. Now, so in a previous time of my life, when we lived on the West Coast in the Portland area, as mentioned in one of our introduction videos, one of the jobs that I had is I was a licensed general contractor in Washington and Oregon State. And in doing so, I was able to do quite a few jobs, and I learned some things about contracting and how other businesses operate and how to get things done. So one of the things we decided to do quite some time ago, a little over a month ago, close to 2 months, was reach out to some gutter companies to get some gutters, because none of our buildings had gutters on them. None of these buildings. So what happens with that? All the water just comes down. It accumulates in such mass loads in small areas, which causes damage. And as you can see, moving water can cause some extreme damage. So you have to be able to kind of slow down that flow and its impact on the earth to prevent those things from happening. And it's unfortunate, but obviously everything happens for a reason, that we didn't get contacted by these, if you want to call them larger companies, ones you always see billboards on and all that. They just didn't reach out to us. And Because honestly, when you think about it on the numbers game, as you do in general contracting, our job is just a pretty small job in comparison to most. So the numbers just aren't there. And so what we had to do was we were blessed to find another company that reached out to us, and they're on site right now. So we're going to follow them along and see exactly what they're doing, how they're fabricating these gutters for us from raw rolls of metal. And then they're going to get all these mounted with their team, get some downspouts put on, and then over time, once we start doing the land grading, then we're going to put some PVC piping in the ground so that we can funnel all that water to exactly where we want it. Let's check this out. This is really cool stuff. So,
Which team was he on? Patriots. Patriots, okay. Yeah, I'm Ricky.
now, if any of y'all are like we are, when you have a farm or a homestead or, you pretty much just own property, you have to know how to do some things, right? You need to be able to take on tasks on your own. Sometimes it's just not fiscally responsible to do so, and this is one of those examples. Let me explain a second, okay? A lot of people will say like, well, I can do it cheaper. Well, I can do it like this. And then if you take the time to actually calculate the cost of all the tools that are required to complete a certain task, something as simple as a pair of crimpers that could cost, $65, right? And then you take into consideration the other tools that you're going to need to be able to get the hangers, to be able to even, honestly, roll out the metal. That's not a cheap device. So even if you're going to try to do things yourself, sometimes it just doesn't make fiscal sense. It becomes too expensive. So you got to rely on the professionals, the people that do it for a living. Why? Because they already have the equipment. And that's why they're able to provide a service to you, of course, at a cheaper price than the equipment, but enough for them to be able to make some money for their time. That's just fair business. There's nothing wrong with supporting people like that do good business. These guys do good business. That's why we're supporting them. And they're helping us out. It's interesting how this all comes back around, works out really well. And yeah, I'm squinting. That sun, it's bright out here, but I love it. So as you can see here, as he's working on this, his screws are already in place. So what they do is they kind of stage everything, which makes the job go a lot quicker. So you put the brackets on, then he went through and set a screw in each spot. That's because it's less motions with the body. When you're working on a job and it comes down to time, because time is money, of course, when you're working on a job, you need to find something that makes things a little bit more fluid. And that means when you're working with a team, you need to stage some things. Because even think about it. If you were to calculate the basic time that it takes for you to reach down in a tool belt to grab one screw, to attach it to the tip of your drill, to use that, to insert that screw where it needs to be, and then to step to the next spot, reach back down again, grab that screw, put the screw back in your hand, because sometimes if you're not doing it right, you may have to hook your drill to your belt. You may need to reach somewhere. Calculate all those movements. If you're doing however many they're doing, a few hundred of them, even at 3 seconds of movement at a few hundred of them, you're talking minutes and minutes and minutes of time that's lost. So that's why it's really important, at least for some tasks like what these guys are doing, to stage things. Makes it go a lot more smooth. Well, right now they're working on not the longest run that they're going to have, but a decent sized run nonetheless. And you know, if you've ever built a structure before, it's very rare that something is going to be, I mean, perfect, perfectly level, all the way for the entire span. It's just how things work, unfortunately. And over time, things settle. Even if it started one way, as things settle, they just kind of things shift. You know, wood itself gets bows into it, even fascia, which is the front band of wood, if you will, on the front of your house where the truss and rafters connect to. And yeah, on this run, even what they're doing is they're having to start with one end and get it fixed at a higher point, the highest point that they can put it to where it's underneath on the shingles, so that it's not above, so that it actually collects water, and that's going to be their highest point that they can possibly go. And then they have the lowest point that they can possibly go on the other end, so that the gutters don't have an issue with when there's too much weight, so that they bend backwards. There needs to be some type of contact behind there to prevent them from bending and damaging or breaking off of the roof on the fascia. So what they're doing is they tack one end at the lowest point, they start on the other end. What they have to do is kind of walk it so that they get the proper slope, and that's why, as you can see here, that they use the level throughout, and they start screwing in those screws that you just saw them set into place. That's how this gets done. It's a simple process for the grand scheme of things. Some of us, we just can't handle these things, but you watch them and like, oh, that's easy, I could do it, if you have the right tools.
Oh, we're gonna need a shorter box. Like that one.
And that's what 50 feet of gutter looks like.
I can work with that.
One of the things we did on our previous property that we are most likely going to do on this property is water harvesting, ultimately our rainwater harvesting. And if you're not familiar, there's actually an easy formula. I'll throw that up on the screen right here for you. You can pause just a second, take a screenshot of this, or just look it up yourself. It's pretty simple. But ultimately, you know, on about 1,000 square feet of surface area on a rooftop, in about 1 inch of rain, for every 1,000 square feet, you get roughly about 623 gallons of water. Well, our home is 1,500 square feet, so we're getting roughly 932-ish, give or take, gallons of water in 1 inch of rain. So if you think about that, if it rains outside for 1 inch and the roof collected almost 900 gallons of water and you don't have gutters, where does that water go? At the foundation of your home or whatever building it is. That's a lot of water in one isolated area over whatever time it took to get that 1 inch of rain, which typically is not that long if you're having a good heavy downpour. Makes sense to collect that water, to use it for something. But let me let you in on a little secret. Did you know that some states actually make it illegal to collect rainwater? Yeah, I said it. It's crazy, right? It's illegal to collect water off of your own roof in some states. One of the reasons we love Arkansas is because they actually encourage you to use water, whether it's collected from the sky or if it's the water that's in the ground, the water that's on the streams and the creeks going across your land. They want you to tap into it. That's why out here in Hot Springs, we have hot springs. I wonder if that's why they called it Hot Springs, Arkansas, because there's actually hot springs here. I don't know. I know. I'm odd sometimes, but I warned you in one of the videos. I said I'm a little awkward. It's okay, right? I gotta be who I gotta be. Oh, it's a good boys. Fuss! Oh, it's a good boy. Fuss! Good boys. Yes, yes. Ready, go. Go.